I pray, give us good understanding, give me clarity, communicate to your people. Our desire that at the end of it all, we will all go and say, it is our ministry, it is our work. We thank you and we honor you in Jesus' name. Praise the Lord. May I take this opportunity to welcome all of you. Why don't you stretch out your hand and welcome your neighbor? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me not assume that everybody knows who's standing here, because we'll ask one more question. My name is Bishop Dr. Franco Onaga. I have been serving you as the General Secretary of the Pentecostal Assemblies of God Uganda, but also taking charge of our finances. So I used to make fun when I go to the pastorate. When you see me, money also has to come. But fortunately, I didn't visit many pastorates, so there was no problem. I visited their officials. Praise the Lord. Today, I just want to give you what we call highlights, top highlights of our financial position as a ministry of PAG Uganda. About 5 years ago, we were here again like this, and we looked at our finances, and we can today be able to say, God has been faithful. All of us are aware, along the way, especially this term, we had an interruption, an animal called COVID. We all know that along the way, we have had an interruption with COVID, which affected our ministry for about 2 years. The ministry was going on, but not exactly the way it was. And then after COVID was lifted up, we also told ourselves as a leadership that the only way we are going to help people revive is to revive the pastor. That's why we have had what meetings call pastors refresher. And the pastors who came for those meetings can testify that when they came and had fellowship with one another, they went back different. They went back charged, and they were able to do the ministry. But as we all know, ministry without resources is a challenge. And some people have even gone ahead and said, and I've not done that study myself, that actually Jesus talked more about money than he talked about heaven. Not that money is more important, but he tells you, money does not save anybody, but we use money to do things that save people. Money will not give you a song, but when we buy sound equipment, then you'll enjoy the song. Amina. That's why it's very good also and very important for us to talk about our finances. As PAG, our focus is to manage the finances responsibly and in a manner that will glorify God. We do this by making prudent financial decisions in usage of our incomes, ensuring there is optimum investment of our funds. Whatever balances we have, we use it reasonably. What that means that God has entrusted us with everything. And God is also expecting us to be accountable about everything. Actually, I was coming here today. I was coming yesterday night, and then I had a call from one of our members who had come from Pentecostal Assemblies of Africa, because I was like the one organizing it. And then he called me. I am supposed to be leaving at 10. But if I go to the hotel, to the airport at 10, my flight is at 3. It means I'm going to be loitering in the airport for a long time. How do I use my time effectively? And so now I said, so what are the options you have? The options I have is to go with a car provided by PAG at 10. The other option is I can take a cab, and it's going to cost $50. And I said, now the goal is, now we need to weigh what is it that important within those 2 hours. Is the $50 more important than the 2 hours? If the 2 hours are more important, what do? We will spend the $50. We make what we call prudent decisions that will help us do ministry profitably. So that when you come and look at it, you're able to say, This money was given, this money has done this work, and we praise God for what has happened. That's what PAG tries to do. We try to do that with everything that we have. Also, no, not only are we prudent, but also we try our best. We try our best to do things that we do. But I also wanted just to tell you that among the diagram I wanted you to look at is this one here. As of now, we have in PAG, we have 24 pastorates. We have, give God a big hand clap. And all of you know, pastorates are what we call administrative units that we use for managing and running the ministry effectively. And then I also have assemblies, 693 assemblies. These figures, I'm not quite sure about this one. This is coming from the finance section, but I will get you cross-check. But what this is telling us, that 24 pastorates, 693 assemblies, 3,667 branches, and then 4,401, 274 members. That's why I don't quite agreement with these figures. But this is just to show you that the way we work, we don't just work anyhow. There is a system through which we work. That's why we have divided the ministry into what we call administrative units called pastorates. And the pastorates are under what we call, below the pastorates is what we call the assemblies. Below the assembly is where we have the branch churches. Our basic working unit as a ministry is what we call the assembly, because the assembly manages what we call the real church. Beyond the assembly, it is now administrative. The pastorate is an administrative center managing what is going on. But the real church is where what we find in the assembly. And also the way we do our funds, all of you know, the way we do our funds, the money comes from the branch church, gets to the assembly, gets to the pastorate, and gets to the national. And that all of us here who are here, if you have been in the PAG for quite a while, you know how this is divided. It's not just arbitrary. There is a guiding principle how we do that. I was visiting, I've been invited to one of the areas, but not one of our areas, but it was involving pastors of all churches in that area. I was the only speaker, and in the evening, when you feel like you are tired, all you want is, where is the bed? And nobody is showing you the bed, but then the person who was leading the meeting came and told me, Pastor. I said, yes, please. The pastors want to talk to you. Then I asked myself, what else can I say? What haven't I said? But while I was struggling, I had the Spirit of God whisper to me, go and listen to them. So I went and listened, and the talk was basically about money. And the bottom line was, how can national office support us? And then another man came and stood up and said, Pastor, Bishop, so and so came to our area. They came, distributed pigs to the people, and some people have left our churches because of the pigs. So and so came with the bicycle, distributed the bicycle to pastors. Some pastors have left our fellowship. What have you brought? And my response was, I have brought nothing, and I will never bring anything. Not that I forgot. I will never bring. And I told them, thank God. The guys who came with the pigs and the people left, those people were looking for pigs. They found the pigs and they have gone. Now you have people who are looking for Jesus. Stay with the people who are looking for Jesus. But the bottom line I'm talking about is actually what we call financial flow. Our financial flow is that the money comes from our Christians. The Christians give money willingly and to support the ministry. And then we are entrusted with the responsibility of managing those funds so that ministry can be done in a smooth manner. And now, what I'm giving you is a report of what that has happened. What has happened, if you look at my diagram here, let me just diagram. The thing that we need to clap and give God glory is the total income in our ministry shows that there has been financial growth. there has been financial growth. We want to thank God for that. This has grown by an average of growth of about 20% over the past 5 years. And in the last 5 years we were here, our total income was totaling to about 3.7 million, 3.7 billion in 2018. Today, in 2023, our total, put our funds, every single collected together, comes to 8.75 billion. I am not giving these figures for us just to clap our hands, but it's also a point for us to say, thank God. God has been faithful. Because the situation has been more difficult in this time. But we see growth. Meaning, people are committed, they are giving out of their poverty, they are giving out of their desire to support the ministry of God. That's why we see growth. So we give God the glory because it's God who's helping us to do this thing. So that means now, because there's growth, also there should be a sign of growth in actual ministry. With our current membership, we could raise over 4 million each month, 400 million each month. But somehow that is not forthcoming. And what are we saying? We need to be able to help our people to see that what we are doing is God-given. You know, God-given. And because what we are doing is God-given, God will continue to help support us and give us his finances. But also, I also want to know, our expenses also have not just been seated. And because the money is growing, therefore, how much can we invest? How much can we put in the bank? How can we get more interest? You know, one of the things I have learned, God is not interested in giving us money to keep. If you are saving money, save it with a purpose, not for the sake of just growing more money. God is entrusting us resources that we can use and grow the ministry, not we can keep and see how every month you go and check, oh, it is fat, it is bigger now, it is for what purpose? So God is giving us the money so that we can grow in the ministry. Our expenses have also grown. In the year 2018, when we last met here, our expenses were totaling to about 3.97 billion. Today, in 2018, our expenses have gone to 8.25 billion. Like I say, that's a testimony to two things. One, that the ministry is growing. Amen? The ministry is growing. But also it's a testimony that cost of living has become quite very high. And I want you to know, sometimes as pastors we go to the people and we really want to preach money out of their hearts. But we should know the fact that no, people are living in a place where they are giving as a sacrifice. And we want to thank God for that. And we continue praying for them that God will prosper their businesses, prosper whatever they do, because out of that prosperity is what they are going to give to support the ministry. Praise the Lord. That means our expense has risen to about 22%, meaning our growth is 20% and our expense is 22%. And if you talk to financial experts, we are not doing well. We should be always be within our expenditures. Expenditures should be slightly below our income in order for us to live above float. So I want to thank God for that, because I also wanted to say, God has blessed us. As we continue growing in the ministry, our assets have grown. You know what? So your total value is the value of your total worth is actually based on who you are in terms of your assets. What do you own? What do you have? I want to thank God that as a ministry, our assets have grown. The total size has significantly grown over the past 5 years, with the current year posting a total of 31.58 billion. Say what you're saying, if you want to sell PAG, you cannot sell PAG below 31 billion. That's what it means. Our assets have grown, and now we're at a point of 31.5 billion, which we want to give God a big hand clap. And I want you to know, this has also grown because of our 2 or 3 small things that we do. One of them is that at least from the national office, we do what we call intentional investments. Intentional investments. Sometimes we have a big thing that we want to do, but we don't have good money. But also, their banks also give you short-term, whatever they call it, and you earn quite good interest out of it, and that has helped us to get money to be able to purchase more assets for ourselves. Praise the Lord. And so that has helped us to grow. At this time, I also wanted to mention that the national office has really been driving. That we should be driving, looking for buying property as early as we can. I was expecting a hand clap because God is telling you to do something. God is telling us, wherever we see property, buy it. You know what is happening right now? What we call there are urban centers mushrooming everywhere. And most times, what do? We wait until the urban center has settled. Then we go looking for land. And by the time you go looking for land, it is no longer the urban center owning land. It is now individuals. And they bought it maybe like, let me give you an example. There was a piece of land where somebody offered me in Soroti. When Soroti was had been enlarged. Nobody told people that the land is being enlarged, the city is being enlarged. When the city was enlarged, the people working around that system bought all the land and then sold it to somebody else. Now, by the time they are telling the world that there is land to buy, it is now in the hands of a second or third person. Then they tell you, actually, the municipal council sold it for 800. But now somebody is asking you for 10 million. You can't sell the person, no. It is his land. You say, town council was selling it. No, that is now history. It is gone. So that's why for us to grow our assets, we also as leaders, bishops, pastors, our assembly pastors, must be on the lookout. Because there are certain things we can do if we are wise and we do wise investments. When we see things happening, you jump there. And by the time you get there, by the time the world comes around, it is too late. You already own it. So that's what has helped us. And I also want to encourage that most of us as pastors and as bishops, the national office has pledged that you will try as much as possible to support to buy for you land in the cities. So if the national office has pledged to support buying land in the cities, please don't call the national office to buy you land for a branch church. Because we have too many branch churches, but not that they are bad to have them. The cost of buying land at the city level is very expensive. That's why we're saying the national office will try to create some money that can help us do that. But when it comes for you as a bishop, you as assembly pastor, to grow the church, that should be now your own responsibility. But I want to say that we've done a little bit, not very good the way we wanted, but at least we have helped buy quite a number of lands in the urban areas. Those of you who have happened to know what I'm talking about. So, but the challenge is we need to be a people who are challenged, always on the lookout. How can we grow our worth? How can we grow our worth? Amina? With all this, we have God has helped us, and God has been faithful and provided us all this kind of money. Now our assets stand at 31.15 billion, which means that we are not simple also, isn't it? We are not simple also. We can talk with authority because that's who we are. We still have a lot of challenges when it comes to issues of finances. One of them is that the issue of financial remittance. Because the national office runs because of the support of the local church. If the local church does not do their part, then the national office cannot do its part. And so we want to encourage all of us that we remain faithful in what we call remittance. Do your part, and the Lord will bless you. And that's all. Also, the other challenge that we have that because we have grown big, we must audit our books. We must audit our books. We began auditing the national office, And when we presented our audited account to the government, and they saw, they said, yeah, we look at your books, but your books show that no, you look very small, but we know you're not small. But we were only auditing the national office. And so we rolled out that we are going to begin editing all our books, including in the pastorates. And the agreement in the Bishops' Council was that we will use one auditor. It is easier and cheaper to do that. And so, but up to now, we've not been able to do audit for all the pastorates for many, many reasons. That one I will not go into. But I want to encourage the bishops that we should be able to make sure that no, our accounts are audited. It gives you credibility. It gives people who trust you. Like if you go to any bank and you want to do business with the bank, as an organization, they will ask you, do you have audited accounts? And if you don't have audited accounts, that's where the discussion ends. And so that's why I want to encourage, when we begin talking about audit, all of us, let's participate. When it comes to, we send a team to get to where you are. Welcome the team and let the team do a good work for you. Amina? That is what I call the high level of financial report I can give you. But before I stop, I want to give you another part because it's still financial. Provident Fund. When I begin talking about Provident Fund, it's a very slippery ground because many things are happening and a lot of things that are happening and people are asking many questions. But I want to say one thing. I want you and me to thank God for Provident Fund. And I want you and me to thank God, particularly for Bishop Simon Peter Miao. To begin Provident Fund was a crisis. It was not easy. Because people have had a bad history, people will not trust anything. But he put his life on the line to push and to say this thing must happen. Today, as we talk, we have a Provident Fund. Which stands at a value of 3.49 billion. Meaning, we are no longer a Provident Fund we just talk about. Even the service providers are looking for us because they would want to host such a person. Because we are holding a lot of money. But what does a Provident Fund mean? Provident Fund, all of us know, the church decided, the church leadership decided at that time, many of us are church workers, many of us are pastors, and we work in the Lord's service. And when the time comes for us to go home, it's evident there is nothing we go with, isn't it? And unfortunately, many times we go away bitter because we think the church has not taken care of me. And yet the church who has not taken care of you is the church which you have left. And you have left negative balance. But you're expecting that church to support you. Does it make sense? You've left negative balance, but you're expecting that church to support you. And then we grow bitter because we think the church has abandoned me. God gave wisdom to the leadership that no, the best is, why don't we begin to make something while we are still here? Why can't we begin doing something while we are still here? And that something is, you contribute something, the church contributes something. It's called a matching fund. And you contribute something, the church will contribute something, and then it is all banked and kept. When the time comes for you to leave, that's the place you can say, I'll begin from here. And I want you to thank God. PAG right now is one of the biggest in terms of churches, Provident Fund available. Now churches are sending their members to us to learn from us. What did you do? We don't seem to make a breakthrough. And we want to thank God for that. But I want to say, for this thing to succeed, all of us must participate. Right now we have a few challenges. The few challenges we have is, most of us, not most of us, that's the wrong word. Some of us as pastors are inconsistent. We are not making our contribution. But we expect the church to continue making their contribution. It is called a matching fund. When you drop 1 shilling, the church drops another shilling. If you don't drop, the church will also hold until you drop. That's what they call a matching fund.
But most of us, we expect the church to continue dropping, but we are not dropping. I want to appeal to all of us. It is for your good. It is for my good that we continue with the Provident Fund. I remember Mosaic Simon can give this testimony. Let me give it on his behalf. The very first withdrawals, when people now say leaving that, because people didn't believe in this thing, there was one pastor who was very critical about the thing, and he was preaching against the system. When the time came to leave, he left with them. Him and a few of his friends were leaving ministry together. And Mosaic said that I will carry the money and give it to them myself. And then so and so come and collect yours. So and so come and collect yours. This person is just seated. And then that's the time he broke down and said, it was my fault. And it is too late. It is too. The second thing I wanted us to talk about Provident Fund. Provident Fund is not an emergency fund where when I have a crisis, I run there to pick it. It is not. Because Provident Fund began long ago, but the people who were doing it, there was a lot of misuse. So government has put very strict laws governing Provident Fund. All we do as a church, we collect the money. But we don't keep the money. We collect the money. There is somebody called a custodian, which is the bank. There is somebody called an administrator who manages all those things. Then there's another somebody called investor. There are 4 people managing Provident Fund. For the office of the bishop, office of the presiding bishop here in Kampala, all they do is to collect the money. And when you are retiring and you send your form, is to receive your form and forward it to the bank to pay you. So it is not where you come and say, I am now in a crisis, give me this amount, and tomorrow I will pick up again. No. There are only 2 ways. If you really feel that you are in a crisis and you must have the money, you withdraw. You pull out from the system. Give me my money. That's it. They will not refuse. But they will also encourage. Tomorrow, after 3 months, after 5 years, I've gotten that I call, give me my money. Then after 1 year, I want to enter again. Give me money. No, it's calling for consistency. Because with the consistency, then we will have something accumulative which will help us when we go. So one of the challenges we still have that the thing is growing, but we are not yet very to the point where we say the system is flowing by itself. I want to encourage us bishops, talk to our pastors. Pastors, encourage you, talk to your branch church leaders, because this is our benefit. Amen? Amen. The other thing that I wanted to mention, we have had a bit of challenge in terms of the flow, because there's conflicting information flowing here and there. I want you to know that about a year ago, we as a leadership made a decision to transfer the management of our funds from one insurance company to another insurance company, because we felt that we were not being handled very properly, and we thought that we needed to move to a place where we can be able to say we have what we want, we have what it takes to be what we are. So we transitioned from one insurance service provider to another. That transition took almost a year. And even after that 1 year, papers have moved, but the real money did not move. I want to announce that as we talk now, all the money that was in the other assurance company has been transferred to the new service provider. But the challenge is, we have been receiving conflicting information. Today it is this much, tomorrow is this much, tomorrow is this much, tomorrow is this much. The assurance I want to give you is this: your money is your money. It is intact. The movement from here to here, and if this person who is still holding the money and are not yet passed it all together has sent you information, it will be different from this information. But I'm going to give us about the next 4 months. A lot of work has happened, a lot of work has been done, and we are close to what we can say. What we say is what we say. So when you see those conflicting information, please don't get shocked up. Like I get them also. And I went to the guy managing Richard. I said, Richard, you can see if this is me, what about my pastor in the village? What will I say? But he says, it's okay, let's hold on. Also, what has happened, because the transition is still going on, when we received the interest for last year, the office sent you a message which included your interest. The service provider sent you a message which did not include the interest. It does not mean that you don't have interest. All that is going, that is all being harmonized. My prayer with all of us, I want to give for my word that by April this year, everything should be where it's supposed to be and should be working the way it's supposed to work. Eh? Oh, you know, I've already crossed. I've already crossed. That's our desire. That by April next year, everything should be what it ought to be. Now, so whatever, and what we have done for your sake, what we have done, we have stopped sending the messages. Because so that it doesn't create a lot of alarm. So you are going to have a bit of a blackout for about 2 or 3 months of information. Not that there is something wrong happening, because we want to finalize the system so that when you begin hearing it, you hear what it is supposed to be. Amina? I was expecting a hand clap. So that's about our insurance, our provident fund. And I want to say, the good news is this: even our insurance providers, fund providers are here today. If you have any questions that I cannot explain because that's not my area of expertise, I can only give you an overview. They are here. Where's the team from? What did he stand up? This young man. I'm not sure whether he's still in the market. He could have already been taken. And this young, beautiful lady here. Please don't talk to her about other things. They have come here today, and it's an assurance to you that they are the one taking care of our money. It's also an assurance to you that they want to do their best for us. Because they would have just said, tell them. But they say, let's go there. There are certain things you can explain and talk with people. So I want to say, let's give them a hand clap for giving a good care of our monies. Taking good care of our monies. So they are representing the firm that is taking care of our money. The firm is called ISAIA, Insurance Company of East Africa. And so those are the people taking care of our good money. So after I've finished talking, if you have any question about Provident Fund.
I'm also from the insurance company.
Okay. Please, can you join them? Actually, this is the chief insurer. This is the chief insurer. Because you know that they know how I grill them. When we are doing our business, we don't laugh easily like this. Because we want the best for you. And when they come back with answers of what I was grilling them about. And they have proven themselves. And so for now, it is the Insurance Company of East Africa which is taking care of our Provident Fund. And we are praying that we will grow with them. And of course, when the money becomes bigger and bigger, we will also begin asking for big things from them. So thank you very much for coming. It's Fiona, and Arnold. They are here. After this, when we have a small break, they are out there. You can talk with them about anything that you want to say. Chief Insurer, did you want to say something before I conclude?
Yeah, it's our volume, the volume of the contributor. I didn't hear you say that. I don't know where it is.
No, okay, that's
from
not
your document, because I want to make a comment on that.
So it's good to read everything. That's how people fail exams. Yeah. Membership at the end of this period, we are standing at 4,003. Meaning 4,000 of us are now part of this, but we are more than 4,000.
Were our original partners. Somewhere in between, our marriage did not run very well, but somehow always there's reconciliation, isn't it? And so we reconciled. There was a legal and now they have come back fully. What I want, first of all, to give you assurance for is the layers that protect this money. Because some of you believe without Simon, this money is not safe. That's not true. I want to disagree with you. Your money is very safe. How many people cover this money? Because it's not just ICA. So you explain to them that language. I don't understand. I don't know.
Thank you, Bishop. Praise the Lord. It's a great pleasure to be here. I will explain what Bishop has already alluded to. So as ICA Lion, why you see us here is we are the administrator. We are more, if I may use a simpler term, the secretary. So we do all the record keeping, we do all the reconciliations for the contributions. So we are your first point of contact. But the money, when it comes in from the national office, the contributions that you make every month, they go directly to Housing Finance Bank. So Housing Finance Bank is the custodian. So every penny, whether we are paying out to members or receiving contributions, that is done by Housing Finance. So no money comes through ICEA no, it's direct from national office to Housing Finance. Then we have the fund manager, who is ICA Lion Asset Management. They are registered, they are a legal entity on their own. So those ones make investment decisions. They also don't touch the money. They just say, they just instruct the custodian, invest in this bond, invest in this fixed deposit. So they just give that guidance. Then we also have the auditor who comes in every year. They look at the books, they assess them, then we get the final interest rate. For those of you who have come to our table, we have been explaining it. Then finally, the most important person in that chain is the trustee. So the trustee, every four times in a year, we meet and they ask us grilling questions. We come to, like Papa Franco had said, we meet and he asks us the tough questions. So we also have that layer of accountability. I don't know which direction to face so that the mic. Okay, yes. So that is the person who gives us that level of accountability, and we are able to report to them every quarter. Allow me to conclude with two final people. We have the regulator, who is Uganda Retirement Benefit Regulatory Authority. This is the watchdog, the URA of retirement benefits. Nothing happens with ICA Lion that they don't know about. So if any member's money has been misappropriated or things are not going well, they will penalize. So that is the structure that I've been asked to explain. But most importantly, you are our biggest asset because you're the members that are making this happen. Thank you so much.
So can you break through with a gun to steal that money? Can you? No. Who can? None. Not even you. And so I want to encourage you, those of you who are lazy, those of you who don't want, at the end of the day, don't blame anybody. Kindly, I beg you. Don't blame anyone, because the money you give us, it is passed on immediately. And the layers that have been laid there, none of us, not even me, can get that money. Let me tell you what I'm going to ask her again to tell you. How will these people get their money back? How will an individual like me, if I want my money, how do I get it? Do you send it back to PAG? Where do you send the money? Okay. Listen very carefully.
So when a member has reached that point of receiving their benefits, there are two ways. We either, okay, let me start from the documentation. So there's a form that is completed. It is a one-page document. You complete it, your name, your phone number, bank account details. So once we receive that form from the national office, we go ahead, and it has been signed by our trustees. We go ahead to pay your account, to your account, not to any other account, directly to your account. And we do that between 3 to 5 working days. Then there is the other option of mobile money. And this one, Bishop, allow me to say this. We did it specially for PAG. We don't do it for any other scheme. Because the regulations refused us to do that. Yes. But we engaged them and told them we have a special group of people who may not be able to have bank accounts. So they allowed us, with the exception of PAG, to pay to mobile money. So we also do that.
Do not clap your hand because you want money to come to your mobile phone. Because you don't know how much both of us have suffered. There were guys that got their money recently, and some of them never had their accounts. And we have a series of emails, and they had to go and beg, because those guys insisted, show us the proof that this money will get to the phone, and we want a receipt. They just don't want anything from your phone. They want a receipt. So there's been a lot of negotiations, and I don't think we have won that journey yet. I want to advise you, open an account if you're going to get your money. The money doesn't come back to us, it gets directly back to you. We don't know even how much it will be. We only know how much it is because we have the records. But when it gets back to you, it is your money and goes directly to your account. As long as you have sent the papers and we have signed the papers, they have signed the papers, the guys will honor those signatures. But as you see within that form, you have to indicate your account. This issue of the mobile money thing is a weak thing. We have tried to cry because of some of you, and the whole reason we cried for because some of you had very little money. Where's Sorech? Give me the money for Mr. Chodu from Soroti. How much was it? Because I want you to learn, because that's one of the guys we really begged and begged and begged. It was how much? It was not reaching 50,000. So now we were struggling to find out where do you send this money? If he opens an account, that money is going to do what? Huh? 45. So you can see, we battled, and the man was sick. So now we had to say, so what do we do? Because he was also on pressure, he was calling us day and night. Now we are struggling, trying to clear up the issue of whether they will be allowed to send the money by phone. And in that business, I had to tell Richard, who is our finance person on the Provident Fund, I told him, send Mr. Chodu 45,000. If we succeed with his money from the Provident account, he will get a bonus of another 45. So he really got 90. At the end of the day, he got 90,000. He should have, because now we realize that he's also sick. How do we wait for a sick man? If he dies, then that will be a message at the burial. And we didn't want that message. So we decided we send him the money. We looked for money from our other account, sent him 45. And then when this one's also succeeded to go to his phone, he also got 45. So he ended up with 90,000. Now, what I want to encourage you, please, if we had boosted this money, you know the dream we had for this money was totally very, very different. My financial expert there, Mr. Sege, knows. Our desire was we would have built this money to kind of have a Pentecostal bank at the end of the day. That was my long-term dream. That did not work because we did not want something like that. We were injured in the past, so we thought, what you are trying to do now will not come to pass. How better are you from what had happened? We are better. We are different. We've done it. We've done it. If we had moved in the direction we would have moved on, we would possibly have done much better than where we are now. But because, as Moses always said, because of, please forgive me, this is not a message, and I know the Spirit is not in it, but may the Spirit come upon you as I say it. You know, the Lord said, because of the stubbornness of your hearts. Let's understand, we are growing, brethren. We are growing. We learn. We make mistakes. And there's not going to be a day when we'll stop making mistakes. We will keep making mistakes. But one good thing is when you make a mistake, you correct it. But we are learning one of the areas we want to grow in listening to people and so forth, is if we have money, where do we put it? We get advice, put it with the people who know how to manage it. We do that. So they help us manage it on our behalf. My appeal to you kindly, increase this money. Some of you just stayed with 2,000. Honestly, 2,000, that's what you give. We are 4,000. Last year, we got Mr. Owin. Mr. Owin used to be the manager of Stanbic many years ago. Michael, you know. And he gave us, he's a specialist guy. He does this finance advice and things like that. He really gave us a lot of advice, which we have not even rolled to you, because our goal was, how do we build up this thing? By now, we would have hit maybe 6, 7, or 8 billion. But you see, our growth is so little. If you put it in every annual growth, it's very, very, very little. Sounds big, like 3 billion, but that's a lot of years into that money. It should not be that money. The reason I said, like, everybody says, you go back and kind of do the promotion again. You will finish me on the road. Yeah, because I have to go from village to church, to church, to church, everywhere, doing the same promotion. And we have the bishops here, and we have you people there, the secretaries, you are handling the finances. You should be the ones doing these things. Tell them that this thing works. It's not what we think on how we think about it. It works. So don't be silent, because it will not help us in the long run. It will not build this organization. Where we would be in the next year, it will be up to you to regret, because you will ask these questions. I wish we had used that opportunity. We could have done better than what we have done now. And things can easily what? Change again, and you fall the other side, which will be negative. By now, we would have grown much better. So those small questions, we brought ICA here so you can ask those questions. Why is it? Why don't I see it on my phone? Why don't I do this? Why don't I do this? But I also want to encourage you, kindly, let's promote this. Let's target, we're now in 3 billion. That's very little money. If by 2024, end of 2024, 2025, if we had tripled this, I would be very happy. I would really be very happy if we had gone possibly to 8, 9 billion. Then we can now begin to sober up and think. We also tried to create something which we are possibly not rolling out at this particular moment, but we'd like to still go back into it, and then we'll be able to put more money also on that. If you hear that, please put money there, because it will help us grow. We want to grow. You cannot grow without money. Let me tell you what you are looking. Our problem is like when we grew up, we were very many in our home. So when food was brought, one small plate, 15 all of us came around, and you can see how much each is going to eat. But if we had waited a bit, then possibly, because we were a polygamous family, maybe then Mother B would have also brought, Mother C would also brought, Mother X would have also brought. Then we would have 5 plates there. It would have been enough for 15 guys. But the moment we see small one, we just quickly run there and clear it. Everybody runs with very little. And that is where we are. Because that's what I think Pastor Franco was talking about, this emergency fund. Some of you are totally upset with me because I said, no, we can't give you that money. I know places where people castigated me completely because I didn't give them this money. I didn't allow permission to withdraw this money for emergency. But it is for your good. Tomorrow you will withdraw it when it is really good and big enough. But if you want it for emergency, it doesn't operate like that. Once this money comes in, comes once, it will also go out once. So wait. When it is in here, you wait, either you retire. If for some reason, somehow, somewhere, the Lord calls you in the air, That's okay. The beneficiaries are there. They will get the money because you have been called emergency. You got emergency call to go to heaven, and you did not have much time to retire. That's okay. The other guys will get the money. So let's be prepared. Either alive or dead, the money will still get to your family. Because we have delivered to some widows this same amount of money without hiding it. So keep those things, they will help you. But let's see that next year we will increase this. And pastorates that are flat. Your words may not be kind to us, but at that time you may not find me. But your words will not be kind. You'll think, that guy, he really denied us. I didn't deny you. I gave opportunity, equal opportunity. And other pastorates are doing very, very well. For the rest of you, you are stuck. I brought you today the father of the religion. He was here. Maybe tomorrow he will come back again. Some of you, are you expecting still the missionaries to do what? The man is here. Ask him. He is here. I brought him. He's here. Don't wait when he goes. Then you will start saying the missionaries were sending that money. No. This 3 billion you see here is not coming from any single missionary. There is no money from overseas. This is our money. Nobody is given it from anywhere outside. So please, I don't want us to become lazy. I want us to do this. Because in the future, tomorrow, we are going to do more. If we had already built an account that was strong, look, the opportunities for us to send missionaries overseas. The opportunities for us to support our own selves and our churches, wherever they are doing. I mean, right now, Soroti is building a big thing, almost 3 billion, 4 billion, isn't it? About 4 billion. Who is going to support them? All of us. Bishop Alex, where are you? Bishop Alex is putting up a roof which is huge for the building. All of us should support that. And that's where we should be going. And we should have a separate other account that will be able to do that. It's very excellent. Last week, one of the donors called us for a meeting. And one of the things he's saying, guys, we'll give you advice. And this is advice they told us. You raise money as PAG, you are a big organization. If you raised money and say like you have 3 billion or 2 billion in a year that you put together, and that money goes for our development, every donor will put money there. That's what he told us. He said every donor will put money there. You will not even be asking. They will just rush and say, those people have 2 billion, they are helping work here and there, let's give them more money. And they will give you possibly even, they will double that or triple what you have. But we are huge. But, you get that? So kindly, next year we are coming with a very different strategy. And the strategy we are going to do is we are going to do a fundraising that will give us at least we want to do 1 billion next year. From leave this one. That will be our fund for development. I shared a lot. My challenge also is with my frontline guys here. When we bring an idea, they end up turning that idea and trying to start raising money from there. I wonder whether the Lord has really blessed those efforts. I am wondering. Because I said, let's put all our money, let's raise money together, let's put it here. Each one of them would be driving a car. Because it's very easy. Cars cost us what? 40 million. But if we put all money from all over the country, we would have bought 5 or 6 cars for all these 5 bishops or 6 bishops. The other year, we buy, because the money would come from all over and will help us. So I want us to try to overcome this idea where you feel that's national office. We've done a lot to try to work with you, to try to encourage you, to try to do everything possible. Friday, tomorrow, I'll drop certain things that I want to drop. Some bombs, I have 6 of them. I want to drop to bust our heads. I think we should get out of this selfish idea when we are having bishops elect or appointed from our own regions. I think we should have bishops for PAG and they must work anywhere. 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 That will help us. If we don't get to that point, it won't help us. But I want you to, I told you it's a bomb. We've changed the position, but we have not moved from that place to what we need to. So this particular assembly, we are going to think through tomorrow. What do we do to flow? We fill the cup, but it's not flowing. So we're asking a question, what do we do to flow? And down the road, maybe 10 years from now, the other guys that will come on leadership again will ask, what do we do to overflow? So that there's an overflow. And then we are able to cover the work that God has given us, even beyond. There are places where people are beckoning help. Bishop Oginde asked us here, come up to Kenya and help us. You heard it for yourselves. At several other places, they ask us, come here and help us. But we are huge. We're very, very small. Let's grow our economy. I think we can break out of that circle. And if we do that, the Lord will help us.
So I just wanted to now, maybe you have a question, something that you want to understand in pertaining our finances. It is your turn. While you're thinking about the question, there's some that Bishop Simon, you mentioned that there is this guy who was sick and bothering us for 45,000. So we decided to give him the 45, so that even when the other one came, he got bonus. Don't go and create a crisis so that you get bonus. and then the other thing that the thing about our finance, about Provident Fund, it's no longer us who regulate; it's the government who regulates. But the good thing is, it is our money. They are doing it for our good. That's why the regulation is for our good. Nobody can make decisions about that money for just a decision. That's why those of us who are still using mobile phones, they have allowed us for a season. But they are saying, the way we are going, you must, for a person of your caliber, because they are thinking the pastor is a serious man. He's influencing serious people. And how can he influence serious people who have big bank accounts and he doesn't have a bank account himself or herself? So let's follow the trend and to make work easy. Any questions?
My question is concerning the Provident Fund beneficiaries. In a case where UAP Insurance had made an error and now there is a transition, given their member who received a message that he had received his benefit and yet he had not withdrawn, can ICEA correct that error of UAP?
It's already been corrected. You know, the good thing about the records about finances that once records have been entered, they are there. So when some issue comes up like that, it has been corrected. I know some cases like that which have been corrected.
Zalon Maximilian, that's my name. GS spoke about the urgency or emergency. What are those things that are considered emergency?
For what?
When I want to withdraw my provident funds. What is that very thing that is considered emergency? Because emergency can be relative.
Thank you very much for that question. You can hear the murmuring. If you want your money, only one way of getting it out, resign from the fund and withdraw it. But you cannot say, I need to pay tuition for my daughter who's just going to the university now. That's not for it. It will not work. No emergencies.
I'm Reverend Paul from Kapchorwa, pastorate. Okay, Sabay pastorate. My question is just simple. Thank you for the highlight as far as the report is concerned. But I wanted just to request if you can be thrilled with the handouts, because this is now the prim of the entire PH circle. So since you have been just highlighting what we expected now after the end, you could provide us with the handouts. Thank you.
What is going to happen? All your bishops are going to get a file which has everything of this kind. So if you want the details of what were presented, the bishop's file will have it.
Clarity to the two questions that we have already answered. You know, when we talked about retirement benefit, that's the purpose of that fund. If you are not retiring, like in government, there's pension benefit. You don't go there when you are not yet retired. Your age has not come. The word emergency is trying to help you because people who would say, now I'm in problem. But the real thing, when we opened, it was retirement benefit. And I can tell you, it has burnt my hand. I have retired. When I saw Reverend John O'Mara retired with a radio cassette,
By the way, it was powerful those days. That was not appropriate.
oh, really. And it was none of us. It was one of the missionaries that gave him the radio cassette. So my response is this. Retirement benefit, by definition, is not emergency benefits. If you have emergency, look for emergency from somewhere. But when you retire, like I've retired, I've gone into my retirement 7 years. When I turn like this, I don't want any of you to be where I am.
I just wanted to know what percentage is the interest and what duration is it given?
We deposit our money with the bankers, what they call them the custodian. And then there's a man called an investor. It's not a man, it's a company. That person makes decisions of how the money can be invested to earn an interest. So at the end of every year, they will have to evaluate how many investments did we make, how much did we get. So the interest rate is not fixed. It depends on how much business has been done that year. And the interest rate is given per annum every year. So it is done according to the business that has prevailed that year, and then it's done annually.
Example, last year.
Patrick, what was our interest declared last year? 9%.
9%.
Okay. Last year it was 9%. I wanted just to add, you see, which sounds which was going to escape my mind. You see, when we talk about saving, many of us, saving is you save after you have done your expenditure. Then what is left is what you save, isn't it? That is not saving. Saving becomes part of your expenditure. It is something that you expend, not after. Because maybe some of you have good money. You have money after expenditure. Me, I don't have. If you have, show me something. Michael, you want to say something?
Praise the Lord. My name is Michael Sege. I am from the Central Tesla Pastorate. I chair the development services, the pastorate. I am not here on behalf of the insurance company or the national office, but I'm here as a finance person because that's my field. And I thought I should just throw 1 or 2 points to help us to understand a few things. Number one, Bishop Franco talked about layers. There are 4 layers. Now, the correct word in finance is controls. There are 4 controls for that money. In other words, if you have a pipe of water, there are valves, like 4 of them. To release water to flow through, all these 4 people standing, each one controlling a valve, has to open. If the trustees open their part and the investor has not opened, the money will not come out. Or the custodian has not opened, the money will not come out. So that's what we mean by controls. So in other words, when we talk about money in those 4 layers, there are actually 4 controls or 4 valves, and there is a different person controlling each valve. That is what guarantees the safety of that money. That's the first thing I wanted to explain. The second one is this issue that has been lingering around of emergency and so on. I'm happy that Bishop Reverend Benjamin explained it here. That one, with age comes wisdom. But with wisdom also comes other challenges. Let me use that word. Health challenges, for example. As you grow, like most of us now are still strong, but as you age, depreciation will begin to work on your body. You will weaken. And sometimes, some diseases come your way, and which require money to address. On the other hand, sometimes some of us are blessed with children. Some of those children are good and they look after us in old age. But sometimes, sometimes it's not the case that your children will take care of you in your old age. You will need cash flow to look after yourself as a man, as a woman in old age. That is the reason for that money. It is for emergency at that age in the future. I saw some inscription in the t-shirt of one of the guys who came here that the future is possible if you insure it. Hello? That when you insure your future, that's why you see some of these old white people come here and have holiday and so on, because they insured their future. I was in Germany some time back, and they told us that it's a culture there that once a child is born in Germany, an account is opened for that child. And savings begin on that account from day one. By the time the child is 18, he has enough money to take care of himself. Their future is taken care of. Look at us now. We don't have property, we don't have land, we don't have businesses, we're in the church ministering. Time comes, you retire. What do you go home with? The only hope that we have now is that Provident Fund. And when I was sitting at the back, somebody is talking about the interest rate. Again, I'm not talking for the insurance company, I'm not talking for the investor or the custodian or the trustees. But one thing I know as a finance person, that this kind of money is not put in high-risk investments which earn high interests. If you want to deal in drugs, you can get interest rate of 200%. Hello? But you also know that anytime you can lose everything. So the wisdom of the insurance, the wisdom of the investors is to put this money in low-risk investments so that your money is secure. The interest might be low, but you know that your money is there. Are we together? That's why the interest rate might be 9%, might be 10%, but you know that it is there. That's the assurance that you should live with. So I don't ask us to quarrel about the interest rates. Why is it not 20%? If you want it at 20%, you'll push those guys to put that money in a way, in investments where you can lose everything. Not only the interest, but the whole fund will go. But the wisdom of those guys is that put it in low-risk investments like treasury bills or maybe bonds. Those are government securities that you don't lose money on those kind of investments. But the rate is low. The higher the risk, the higher the returns. But the higher. Are we together? And so as somebody in this field, that is also my part of ministry, to to explain some of the things to us. So I'll leave it at that, but encourage us where possible. Now, this money is like, for us who have been working in the private sector, NSSF, it's like that. I mean, you put your money, the employer also puts some money. NSSF invests it in some projects, and then they get a return. Now, depending on how much they have earned from those investments, the rate would not be determined and say, let's now, what we have got now, the interest is so much. That is how it works. It is for your retirement, not for emergency for now. God bless you.
I think after that, do we still want to have questions on Provident Fund?
Wanted to be helped on the side of the names. I think my name is misspelled, and I'm worried in case maybe the Lord takes me. My children will struggle. So can I be helped when I go there so that they correct my name? Because when I receive the message, at times you find Managa, then Philip, they put a double L, then there is S at last. So thank you.
I am Reverend Gert Santo Kilo. Before I say anything, I want to begin by thanking the vision bearer for the Provident Fund, because your dream and what you have seen, your vision, has come true, and it's going to help us. I want to say thank you, because we cannot thank you when you are dead. We need to thank you now, when you are still before us. I have two questions. One, my names, I have two names, personally. I have two names. I don't know whether those two names can be married to become one. Because it is me, myself, in the Provident Fund, have two names. Number 22, Gulu, number 27, Gulu, and number 57, Gulu. That is my number. I got
Take note.
all the
Number 22 Gulu and
27
27 Gulu
and 57.
and 57.
Yeah, those are my numbers. I don't know whether can become one. And my second question is, now that the ICAERA, they are now in different, they are open their branches, like in Gulu, they have opened their branch there. Maybe like a person like myself, if I want to, maybe at a time when, because sometimes when the secretary is sending the money, maybe I don't have the money at that time. If I get the money at a different time, can I use that opportunity to pay in the branch and then send the record in the office? Thank you very much.
Those people will be waiting for you with that question outside. They will be waiting for you for that question outside, and we'll give you an answer. But the thing that we still want to respect the system. We have created a system through which we are working. We want to continue working in that system. Because we have come from a place where things are not going together, we still want to work until we see things are flowing. If we begin creating other ways out to do the same thing, we are increasing what we call the inconsistencies in the system. So for now, let's first use what we have until at that moment when we can think that, no, it can be done. I also wanted to say, we have had that problem a lot of the same person having different names. Those of us who come from, especially Lango, Acholi, and we have, how many Tomokelos do we have? How many Tomokelos do we have? Just Tomokelo. And not here, in that area. In my phone, I had saved Tomokelo, his number. Then when I punched, there were 3. And I discovered now I need to find out who is who here. So what I did, I began ringing each of them. When I discovered it was not him, I said, oh, I accepted to say, how are you? We have that challenge. We share names, real names. Okay, Octomo Kelo, Francisco, so and so. And, but what has helped us to solve that problem? We no longer give codes at anywhere else. The codes are only given this side. When you have filled your form and done everything, then we can give a code for that person. But at that time, when people just used to create codes at that side, that thing was possible and it was happening, but it's being corrected. Amina? Thank you very, 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 very much. I wanted to say thank you very much for this. I presented financial issues. People understood everything about finances, but they had everything questions about Provident Fund. So I want to say something. So what I wanted, I was going to say that we are going to close this session. But Muzei wants to give us a bye on this particular session. Then after that, we'll come back. We'll give you another report.
This one is just a word of advice and caution. And I pray that the open walls don't open this message, it goes out. This message should be closed here. How many of us are under Compassion sponsored? You have sponsors, you are sponsored, you are on Compassion. Put up your hands. Project, Compassion projects. Put up your hand. Put your hands down. This is an area where we need great care. We've lobbied, we've labored to build that bond relationship. And the Compassion has honored us. We are the highest sponsored body. Highest. Now, one of the things, even when you are thinking about this number here, I think this money which we saw here is even less. Because I know that every month some of your pastorates get not less than 20 million per project, not less than 20. And we have a good number of those projects. I don't know who could give me them, but there are very many. So when you look at that volume of money alone, say, Karamoja, how many projects do you have? How many? 15. 15. 15. I wasn't good in maths, I was good in English. Michael, give me just a rough estimate. By 20, only by 20. What is per month? That's 300. So that's not small money. So we sit here, we are the most well-funded in terms of children ministry. Highly funded. Now, we need to see fruit of that thing. We need to see fruit. We need to be more engaging in ensuring that that fruit of that fund comes forth. The new country director and I have just talked. We would like to come and make sure how is this running. And you know that there are some other people that were up there. It's not an easy thing. They feel we have had the lion's share. But it's because of some work that we have done. But here is the most difficult thing. Some of our, what do you call those pastors? They call them what? Overseers. Some of those committees and some of those other things. They are not even ashamed to ask a question like which one?
So can't I also get some soap from here?
You know, the reason why I'm saying this because that's one of the most areas where we have entrusted. I said in another pastorate, I said, you are developing conflicts over failure to manage the blessings of God. There is one thing for God to bless you, there is another thing for you to manage the blessing. When you ask questions like that, in a trust that God has given you to look after the community. Tomorrow I will be mentioning some of the things, but yesterday we were discussing here in POA. The only ministries that are going to be running on road and running across the country will be ministries that responding effectively to the needs of the in the communities. And God has trusted you with that volume of money in a month, in a year, if you multiply it, you can see what that volume of money is. What is the transformation value in that community? We're struggling right now with POAC to see to it that all the funds that go for child sponsorship must address community needs. Must address, because you can't have a child without a family. You cannot have a family without a community. So, and that's exactly where compassion ties the money. The dream of compassion is child, church, and community. Three. So there needs to be a thinking through. I discussed with the country director, and we're beginning to think through how do we realize transformation through this, because that's huge volumes of resources that could bring transformation. But we are down there and asking funny questions. We are also down there doing things that don't make sense. We are down there having volumes of these blessings. And let me tell you, don't provoke God. Don't. Don't provoke God, because He will sweep you and pour poverty that is deeper than you think. And it will affect the generations of tomorrow. Don't provoke God. When He blesses you, take care of the manage the blessing so well, even your grandchildren will be blessed. You, Mr. Michael could give us more examples in terms of, because I'm not very good in those lines of areas. But when you think of the Madhvani here, this is not the Madhvani who started that thing. That's only second, third generation possibly of the Madhvanis. But they manage the blessings very well, and the blessings have flowed. And such families keep enjoying good life. But for us, no. 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 Even within places where we work, when you go back and look at the presiding bishop, 3 years later, there will be a jigger on his foot if he's not careful. Because he will have no shoes 3 years later. I'm telling you this very seriously. Even the bishop, that's why we are bitter one with another. Because Michael just intimated it very slowly here. We don't have anything else to live on. Nothing. So I want to say to PAG, it's one of my bombs tomorrow, but I want to say it now. Whatever blessing God has given us, kindly manage it well. We will have a long future in serving this country and serving the communities of this country. And there will be more people who will want to trust us. So that's one. And I've been very close. And the grace that compassion has given us is so good. We built large and better relationships. And some of you, even when we come asking along that line, you don't want us to be part of it. But let me tell you the truth of the matter. There's no fund you get which we have no idea. And there's no fund that you get which we have not promoted. That's a mistake many of us make. But we do a lot of promotions for you quietly. We don't want to come down there and just say, oh, we are promoting this, oh, we are promoting this. We go very carefully, but we have done those promotions. And we are back to it. They honored us, even as the outgoing country director was leaving. They had us as guests of honor there to speak on behalf of others. Yesterday, many of you, I told you, go that way. Don't come to the POA meeting. Go there, because I wanted you to connect with the new coming director so that he sees your face, he sees your nose. So when the next meeting comes, he says, I think I saw that one. I mean, all of us are recognized differently. People know me by my nose, some know me by my height. So that's why I sent you there. And the reason I wanted was so that you have that face touch. But again, they honored us. We were the ones standing for all other partners. I didn't take those things lightly. Those were things of intimate what? Relationship that were built. And I want to say to all of you, to the managers that handle that money very well. When you are dealing with reports, whether they come through the pastorate or not, we need copies of those reports so they will come back through to us. Because we are the silent flow that comes to that money. With that money comes to you, but we are silent flow. So we'll need to look at that record. If anything happens to that money in your hands, Compassion knows where our office is, and they will run there. And you know that for some of you, some of the projects have escaped narrowly, and for you, you think they escaped narrowly. We had to bow and apologize. And one of the credits we are given is that in PAG, a problem occurs. The leadership from Bugolobi takes responsibility, and we start to work it out. That's what we have done for you. You mess, we take the responsibility to own your mistake and work the thing out. So I want you to understand those things, because they are the dynamics that help us move wherever we are moving. And God opens those doors for us. We have a very good record on that. So bishops help us. Originally, we had a big challenge. Bishop Alex, where are you? He's gone out. Yes, Ezra is here. Ezra is the secretary to Reverend Houston. We had a lot of challenges where some pastors refused for the bishop to have oversight on those finances. And things came which were very dangerous. And these people suffered for 2-3 years to pay back that money. They really suffered. In some places, it is the bishops themselves who feel they should have the authority and power. No, don't do that. Just provide guidance. Don't use authority and power. Those things are not helpful. If we led you like that, it would never be happy. And I think you are used to that strong, so you know the man has come. So the grass, have you seen grass when the wind comes? They bend it this way, because the wind is going that route. That's not good leadership. But provide guidance. I know for sure that time comes when I will not be here in PAG. But I'm also very sure, confident in my heart, I have visited you and I have not benefited from your resources. If I have, you raise it up. I have not, but I've guided you on what to do, how to handle those things, what to do with this, what to do that. If you get blessed and you fly, it's okay. I better see you flying than seeing you crawling. But fly well. Okay? Fly well. Don't fly up there and crash. That will not be good. You crash on the rocks. Fly well. But we want to guide you on how to do that. And be faithful to what God has called you to do. So that was a question I wanted to put before we finish up with this finances thing. because that money is lying. I don't think it is. Patrick, do we have figures on compassion on this? So we're going to get a block figure tomorrow, and it will shock you. It will shock you when you see the figure that we get from that angle. And some of us are so protective, you don't want us even to see it. There have even been days where you didn't want us even to see anything you do with the projects. The social, you didn't want. And we asked ourselves, what is going in the secret? Because if you don't want people to know, then there's something going on. Because this is not you. And actually what happens is the trust is not coming because of Simon Peter. It comes because of PAG. So why do I refuse? It's not me. It's not you. It's PAG. And that's why some people want to build their own ministries. That's okay. But in PAG, we have agreed that we work what? Centrally. We work together. Yeah. But in that central which we work, you have so much autonomy that there are many things that you do, and we don't keep